Hello everyone, welcome to iTeLearn. Thank you so much all for joining live. Very honored to have an amazing technical panel with me. And I would love to introduce you to the entire technical panelists who are in the session one by one. And the first, we have Nagi Reddy. And Nagi is a data scientist, and he's someone who's also very close to being the early stages of blockchain technology experts and an early entrepreneur as well. And it was amazing connecting with you, Nagi. I would love to hear a little bit more. I will come back to you in a quick minute once I go through each of the panelists. Andy Sherman and I go back about almost a decade in terms of professional relationship. We both worked for a large Indian IT organization as sales directors, and that's when we got an exposure to meet with each other, and I'm glad to have him as a partner in one of my other business, Texas Covers. Thank you, Andy, for joining. Manoj, amazing person. I think I and Manoj, we know each other for maybe 7-8 years, Manoj, maybe 6 plus. And Manoj is someone I met in the software testing world, but it was great because we could work together on a few projects. And he's also been a constant mentor to a lot of our iTeLearn audience. Thank you, Manoj. Thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate you being here. Vicky is actually besides me. Vignesh, thank you for coming over in person. We both are right now coming live from LA team, myself, Karthik, and Vignesh. Vicky is someone I know who's a very passionate consultant and who specializes in Salesforce. The way he looks at technology and clients and the way he approaches the multiple projects, I think he's got an amazing skill set. Salesforce is not a new technology, but just that how it has opened up the platform for new members. Kumar, are you there? I couldn't see you in the panel list earlier. Let me see if you're there, and I need to move you. Ashna, I don't see Kumar. Can you please check and help me if you can get him on, please? He was there earlier, right, today?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. And then we have Kumar, who's kind of missing in action for maybe a few minutes. He should join us soon. Kumar, again, another passionate trainer that I've come across, so passionate about his, training and his e-learning that he's been doing, specifically on performance testing, that he's quit an amazing career in IT just to be a freelancer. Amazing focus on not only teaching, but also is doing a lot of consulting work in that field. Thank you, Kumar, to join us. Sindhura, thank you for joining us. Again, Sindhura and I maybe know each other for 2.5 years. She and I were working on ENIOT with a few more iTeLearn members about a year back, and we in fact went to Texas, Austin for the Selenium conference. So Sindhura, myself, and a couple of more friends, in fact, Andy also helped us at that time. We were the ones who built ENIOT, the initial, how do I say, the beta version that we launched there in Selenium conference, and then later we moved on to the orange and peach versions. And Sindhura has been an amazing support to us all through. And she's right now as a senior QA analyst with TransUnion. Sindhura, thank you for coming along. We would love to hear from you. So the majority of the panelists come across different backgrounds in IT. That's myself, Karthik, founder, CEO for Casa Inc. I'm glad I'm here. It's an honor to be connecting with all of you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. So I'd like to move forward with each of you. I would love to start with maybe Sindhura, yourself.
You put me on the spot.
I did. Okay. So Sindhura, we would love to have an introduction because most of the audience would love to know more about, what's your background, where you come from, and in general about what you believe we lack in school or learning versus what happens in the real world. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hi, this is Sindhura here. So I have over 13 years of experience in QA. I have worked in various domains like products, a lot in healthcare. Currently also I'm working with even though I'm working with TransUnion, they own a healthcare product. So I'm working on their healthcare product. So we are I'm working on automation, automating some of their internal websites, as well as testing their any changes. Um, so going back to what Karthik asked about, what is a difference between the real world and what we learned in school? I think it's a day and night difference. That's what I can say. I have a master's in computer sciences, and what I have learned in the college or in at school is nothing compared to what I am actually experiencing in the real world. So we are learning something and we are doing completely different. But I think we can easily adapt to it, but at the same time, I think our curriculums and our schooling or college has to catch up with what is there in today's world from a technology standpoint. We are far more advanced in technologies. We are using all. There are so many new technologies that are coming up, which are practically not there in any of the schools that at least I studied at the time. So that's a vast difference that we need to cover. That's why we have these trainings that help us to actually catch up with the current technologies.
IT career. Sorry, I think there was okay now. Even if it's not from a schooling background, even if you look at a lot of us go through with an IT, we have to do a lot of learning as we update and upgrade our skills. So you were working on automation. I'm assuming it's Selenium driven, Sindhura?
That is correct. I'm currently using Selenium with C Sharp
Oh, nice, excellent.
and also using Gherkin for BDD
Uh-huh.
developments.
Great. And so the one thing that I've seen, especially when it comes to software testing, because despite the core development area, software testing remains to be the common field across all IT teams. And every company, every team uses a set of different combination of tools. And sometimes the methodologies are also very customized. So did it take time for you to, when you made a career change recently, to get accustomed to what they were using as technology? Was there a gap?
Yes, absolutely. Because the most of any or development we have done using Java, and
Right.
moving to a new technology, C Sharp. C Sharp was not something I was used to. Um,
Yeah.
the logics and everything is the same, but I just had to learn, how to work with that, and I had not worked with any what do you call
Sure.
I'm not getting this word. So I hadn't worked with TFS where I had to really work with any change management tools, basically. So that was something new. And C Sharp is a lot different than Java. So I had to really spend a lot of considerable amount of time to understand, what the changes are and how to work with some of the things that I
Mm.
had worked in the past, but so different than C Sharp.
Yeah, I think what I look at it is to get the fundamentals of any language is all right. It's not very tough. If you know once, let's say, core Java, to get the basic of C Sharp or Ruby or any other Python and so on. But once you go deeper in them, you start using libraries and a lot of open source stuff or anything that comes as a part of a team build. I think it gets complicated. Great, thank you, Sindhura. Now,
Thank you.
there's a lot on talk in terms of BDD and Gherkins, right? Are there no specific tools like a SaaS tool that we're using, or are they all custom built at your end?
We are using, so basically we are using Visual Studio. So we use basically SpecFlow for that. Hey, Karthik, I can hear you.
No, I got it. Okay, thank you. Sindhura, so last question before I maybe continue with, I want to reach out to Nagi because he has a tight schedule as well. I wanted to talk about now. See, 13 years in QA, I'm sure you've also, since I know you, you worked in management as well as a project management manager and so on. And
Right.
you've come back to chosen to, focus a lot on technology than go in the management stream. You still, is it because you like to be in technology or it gives you more opportunities? Because it looks challenging always, right? Stay,
That's correct. It's all of it.
yeah.
It's all of it basically, I have a lot of management experience, and I know I'm very comfortable at that position. But automation is something which I had not done in the past. So that is around, if you look at the QA world today, it's completely moving towards. So I don't want to lag behind. That was
Yeah,
one of my main goals for learning automation, and it is something I thoroughly enjoy. I've always loved the development aspect of it. So I had stayed very active even on my SQL skills and everything, just to stay in touch with that. So I really enjoy doing it. So I wanted to continue to do that as well.
sure. So thank you so much, Sindhura, because what I've seen, your passion for automation was immense as well. When I started teaching HP Quick Test Professional in 2008, I believe, um, it was very interesting to me to see this, how we can teach an application to automate and run a business process was very amazing and interesting. And then when Selenium came on, it gave more and more power for us, and that's how we could build a tool like Neon.
That's true.
Thank you so much for your expertise. Great, Nagi, I would love to speak with you as well and understand your capability. Do kindly introduce us to you and then continue. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, Karthik. Thanks for me allowing, yeah, Karthik, as I told you, right, I started my career as an Oracle consultant. Yes, ERP. So ERP, where I work around more than 11 modules. I got huge experience in terms of understanding enterprise planning resources. So 6 years back, I shifted to the data science. I found something, unique in data science and data analytics, creating new patterns. And since my background, my technology background is ERP, so I know each and every department how it's interconnected and how they produce analytics and how they use analytics for actionable decisions to take the actionable decisions. So I went crazy on understanding data science. I learned Python for data science initially, then I shifted focus to our language. And I learned tools like Tableau, IBM Watson Analytics, IBM Watson Explorer. I'm certified of all these tools. So that's how I started career, and then just 2 years back, I started, learning and implementing blockchain. So even I have my own company where we are doing a couple of products in blockchain technology, and I'm doing consulting to the banking sector and insurance companies on blockchain, how to take blockchain into the private network. So this is my experience. Apart from this, I've been trying more than 7,500 professionals, and I work as instructor for the companies like even Wipro, Infosys, most of the all giant companies I work, and I train their professionals in data science and blockchain. So that's the brief of my as in being an instructor. The reason I've been teaching the people is, yeah, I found something like, while I'm teaching, I'm learning new techniques. So that's what I made me to be in this field, teach people, and you will also teach yourself while you're teaching people. So because you learn new techniques. So that's the thing. So I'm not able to hear you, Karthik.
No, I
Uh,
was on mute. Sorry. Now you can hear me, right?
yeah,
Nagi, amazing profile. So most of the switch that you did from an ERP and multiple modules expertise, in fact, even to get more expertise in one module takes an year or so. That's what I believe, because I
yeah.
spent
It all.
a year in ERP as well.
For example, let's say in SAP sales and distribution itself is a motion. In Oracle has
Yeah.
purchase orders, PO and inventory, CRM.
Mm.
The thing is, we think like that, but I saw something like the whole application built by one single person. It's all mindset that. So if we feel difficult, it's a difficult. Because I'm into the even a business. There are a couple of times I need to explain the whole ERP application modules, more than even 8, 9 to one single client in the presentation. So I got opportunity to learn more things. So I enjoyed it. I learned it. And another thing that I noticed here is nowadays there is no difference between fresher and experienced guy in the industry. And fresher is giving more.
I lost you there. Can you repeat that last one?
Yeah, yeah. Another thing that I actually experienced in the industry, current industry, there is
Mhm.
no huge difference between the fresher and experienced guy. Even
Oh,
fresher, yeah, there is no difference because even freshers getting huge amount of salaries than the experienced guy, $100,000, $120,000 for machine learning and artificial intelligence and blockchain. Even he
that's
has
true.
one experience. Okay,
Yeah.
the reason behind is how quickly, how faster you are adopting new technology and understanding it. That is not happening by the experienced guy because they already so been learning something and doing something in a big giant companies last 6 years, 5 years. They can't themselves move suddenly, to the new technology. They feel it is an alien. So these
True.
freshers actually, yeah,
And I think that is one advantage we get as a trainer. It is an amazing profile, Nagi, that you had. Very nice to see. And I was about to ask a question, and I think you told me. Why was it that you moved from ERP to data sciences and now to blockchain? It would definitely be passion would have been involved into it because very interesting fields to do research and go deeper. But at the same time, they're in demand, in trend. So
yeah,
it is definitely something. For example, when I started iTeLearn, I only picked up the in-demand tools to teach. I didn't say that we'll teach everything. You take one and you specialize in that, and that's how you continue. So when you're saying this new technology, adaptation of freshers is easier than the experienced people because experienced people, there's so much unlearning that has to happen. Is that what you're saying, Nagi?
yeah. I believe that personally. The reason is I went through that scenarios. Even I have a couple of experienced guys in our office. They feel very hard to learn the new technologies. That is what I experienced. It's my personal, experience.
Yeah.
So, but when
Yeah.
I had some IIT guy or someone who got nice, decent mathematical skills and reasoning skills,
Mm.
it quickly, I'm really getting nice bill on freshers than experienced guys in my office right now. Okay, and another thing is that,
So,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead. I'll ask a question after you.
yeah, please go ahead. It's fine. It's fine.
So the question is now, let's say that definitely someone who's at an IIT level or a premium school or college is a sharp individual who would easily be able to learn some of these technologies, or at least when they learn, they'll definitely be good at whatever they learn. But what about any of these technologies? Like you've been focusing on two from your side, blockchain and a little bit on data sciences. Like,
I'll
uh,
tell you one example. The
how
first thing
about
is,
other colleges like non-premium engineering? Someone who's new to IT.
yeah, Karthik. So this is the question actually. Uh, let's say as in we have a guy who is tech savvy. He can understand any complex algorithm. He can implement it. He can learn machine learning, artificial intelligence, just like that. Let us assume that. So he is anyway survived. So what about the people who have got medium knowledge or average knowledge? How can they actually enter into the machine learning and artificial intelligence or blockchain? See, first audience or whoever wants to learn new technology, they have to make a decision that they want to learn it or not. Once they make a decision, want to learn, we have a lot of ways. For example, say if you want to learn blockchain,
Mhm.
we have Hyperledger and Ethereum. These are two very
Yeah.
popular frameworks. Okay,
Mhm.
so Hyperledger, say Ethereum, if you want to launch cryptocurrency, it has a mining concept, bitcoins and everything. Ripple doesn't have a mining concept. And
Yeah.
iTeLearn, which helps you to develop the enterprise applications, but a lot of coding involved over there, APIs and all. But same Hyperledger used by IBM, they developed a framework called IBM Blockchain. It is you need not to have that huge amount of technology and awareness of the programming and all this stuff. It's a framework. Just like that, you
So
can.
within blockchain as a concept, there could be, in fact, Vigi also has been doing a lot of research on blockchain. Within blockchain as a concept, it is not necessary that they're only blockchain or experts, but there could be variety of roles within that field.
Yeah, first thing is there is a myth. Like when we were got the introduction of data science, people thought that data science is a technology, data science is a concept. Data science can be built using any language. It's a concept, right? The same way, blockchain is also concepts. Actually, they define the architecture, altogether different architecture. In the blockchain, we have two networks, open and private network. So coming to the blockchain also, as of now, industry is not so clear that what kind of roles we can assign to the people. We people come across with we need someone who has the expertise in Bitcoin mining or the crypto mining and etc. Some people come across we need someone who has the experience in Hyperledger to build enterprise applications. So even industry is not so clear about the roles. Now it's like a data science also, okay? Because industry is not so clear about data science. So how to, people call it associate data scientist role or senior data scientist role. They don't know even specific role what they're gonna do it. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm still muted. No, great, Nagi. So this is exciting, and now maybe with your training and consulting and your research that you're doing with your startup. I wouldn't say it's a startup. It looks very amazing what you're doing already with your company. Um, do you think there is a chance for these roles to get clarified sooner, or you could have already seen, right, what kind of roles?
Yeah. So in the market currently, say for example, machine learning and artificial intelligence. Let's talk about it. Now I'm able to see people are asking for the resource who knows IBM Watson, which produce a lot of predictive analytics
Yeah.
and predictive analytics and structured and unstructured data. So means the web data, most of web data. So they are actually now asking people who know specific tool that solve this specific problem. IBM is in advance in terms of IBM. Most of the IBM tools like IBM Watson Analytics, IBM Watson Explorer, these things are providing a lot of machine learning and artificial intelligence, tools. The people who scared of writing, programming, all this stuff, they can depend this kind of frameworks which has a lot of market. Okay, so they need not to have a huge amount of programming knowledge. They just need to understand the framework. They just need to understand how to implement the various, options there. So that is what I can recommend them. And coming to the roles of these things, I don't think that the reason is, for example, if we talk about Alchemy Labs, we can say specifically we need guys who got expertise in PO or inventory or XYZ. But in these two streams, especially in data science and blockchain, so now the people are just asking, with respect to the technology, like say example, we need someone who knows Hyperledger, we need someone who knows Etherscan to develop the tokens, to create the tokens for ICU. So this is how they are coming up with the various. But the things that I told you right now, the machine learning, artificial intelligence, blockchain has huge demand. They don't care about how much experience you have. They just want to see what you created in your GitHub. That's it. They will hire you. That is the scenario right now.
Wow. Wow. So I mean, it's very attractive. If I look at most of my iTeLearn audience comes from a software test automation background, and as we navigate, I'm sure even software testers when they started, they chose QA because within IT that was one of the non-development or non-coding areas. Everything else looked technical. And then as QA built, they went into functional testing, regression, UI, performance, mobile app testing, and it just went on into automation world. Frameworks is the same thing. Today, if you look at even to develop web apps or mobile apps, we use frameworks. Even to test applications, we use frameworks. And frameworks has become a kind of concrete for us. It gives us a standard template which does not make too many failures happen. It lets us go with that route. So what you believe is very interesting, Nagi, that it is a lot of things to learn within each of these data sciences of blockchain, but according to what my level of learning capabilities I could choose, correct?
Yeah, so we are right persons. Things say I've been into this last 6 years.
Yes.
Just talking to you, I can suggest you, say example. So okay, learn IBM Watson, for example. Say IBM Watson has a lot of stuff. I'm just picking up IBM Watson, but IBM Watson itself is a ocean. There's
Right.
huge amount of services. You can't even imagine. It is giving every damn thing in machine learning and artificial intelligence. And it's very advanced, I can say. So it just got into the picture last 2014. Now it is picking up. It has huge demand in the market. And IBM also started IBM blockchain. Its license cost itself is very expensive. People have started adopting IBM Hyperledger.
Wow.
At IBM blockchain used IBM Hyperledger is an open source from the Linux founders. They build their framework using Hyperledger.
Looks like IBM has just pounced onto blockchain and related technologies, right? Hyperledger,
Yes.
blockchain, Watson. Yeah, very nice. So while this looks scary, just letting the audience know, I think what I believe, Nagi, is if we have the right kind of guidance or a structured learning program, this is not rocket science. You just need the right
Exactly.
knowledge and then exposure to the right projects. Once you get that hands-on, learn, work, learn, work, learn, work. 3 months, 6 months of hard work, don't you think someone could shape up with a good career role in this area, blockchain and data sciences?
Yeah, to say, I will tell you the real time scenario what I'm doing in my current in office, okay, currently. So first, while we are hiring the people, we have we had two type of resource. One is hardworking guy, another one is techie savvy. Hardworking guy take maybe a 1 month extra time, but he can achieve it. He's hardworking, he will learn and achieve it. But the techie guy, actually, he will create something and will enhance the even your thought. He quickly delivered the things. So we hired these two type of guys in the company, and we are training them based on their tech, I mean their maturity in terms of technology.
We kind of assess
Uh,
them before we
yeah,
put them.
so, for example, we got trained someone in the IBM Watson of different streams of machine learning and artificial intelligence. It has a lot of services. We will discuss later. So, and some people we got trained in IBM Hyperledger, IBM Blockchain, and some people we trained in Python, R language, because we have a clients, they don't want to depend on the frameworks, they want to build everything from scratch to end. So where the billing is same again. So the people who are working in IBM frameworks or any machine learning, artificial intelligence, blockchain framework is billing is same.
Yeah, so anything within that, there's still a high billing rate, you say.
Yes, yes. I mean, people should not think like if they learn Python, the coding part, their billing is high, and it's not at all right. People who learn frameworks got the more billing sometimes because IBM is the brand.
Right. Wow, that's amazing. Now, and I hear a lot about R, the language,
Yes.
Python, and how people are trying to switch a little blocks, but unless you are every day into it, you really don't know if you want to switch technologies. But this is an amazingly new field, and the way it is going, I don't know how many job opportunities do you see, Nagi? Do you see really from a client company perspective, or is it more of a buzz and people are trying to just upgrade skills, but they don't know how to use it yet?
It's not definitely a budge, it's a genuine requirement because see, I did a proper research. I will even share with you. I did this research for Science, Infotech. Previously, it is called Infotech. They actually opened altogether a different department for analytics. So
Okay.
they asked me, they requested me to give them this sort of research. I can put this my research, I can share my research with you that why the data science has that huge potential in the market. See, we've been collecting huge amount of data last 30 years. I just want to
Correct.
give a brief explanation. Say, if we go back to 30 years back, I mean 30 years back, we have character user interfaces, right?
Yeah.
Just used to enter the comments and get the answers. And then it ran around maybe 5 to 6 years, and then Microsoft all of a sudden came up with graphical user interfaces. So where we seen all the graphical user interfaces ran around 5 years, and then we seen enterprise applications like SAP or Labs. 10 years we got the jobs and everything. 3 years we have a smartphone apps, and people been inventing a lot of stuff to just capture and use the data. Nothing has been invented for running the data and producing a pattern using that historical data and making actionable decisions. That is started recently. Last 2 years, people have started building advanced tools to use historical data to make the actionable decisions. So that is the catchy thing. So we don't have nothing. We have nothing right now to build any applications because we got all the applications in a place. We just need a right resource, right
Yeah.
techniques, algorithms to produce the analytics.
And in fact, even at iTeLearn, there is so much data that we have about our students that we're building over the last 10 years. It is very tough for us to manage them. We do a lot of things, but still, we know there's so much data for us to discover and know more and more about the students and so on. Thank you so much, Nagi. I really appreciate what you're saying. From my point of view, I think this is gonna go fast. I know blockchain, more with Bitcoin craze that happened, may have a little kind of apprehension from young people getting into IT, but that's an amazing field. Data sciences, no question about it, because we've seen BI, data visualization tools for a pretty long time. But what we see today, I think, is a lot of things are getting combined, and that's exactly how we kind of put things together. Vicky, do you see any kind of a synergy on these latest things, data science? You're in Salesforce, right, Vicky?
Right. I mean, coming into part of it, like what you was saying, AI part of it. So everyone is kind of adapting into it. So everyone is competing into the AI tools. So even Salesforce started its own version called Einstein. So yeah, there is a lot of automation and predictive analytics going on. So I've seen a lot of tools as such to help self-guide people or replace some kind of business processes.
Sure.
And, more digging into analytics space.
Yeah. So Salesforce as a tool, I think. See, I've been a Salesforce user long back, 2006, 7, 8, something like that. When it was purely a sales CRM only, and we were having challenges to get it implemented, start working with it, and it took time, and it didn't really understand. It looked very simple as a process, but it looked complex as a tool to use at that time. And I've not touched Salesforce in the last, I would say, easily 7-8 years. So there's a lot of transformation as what it does right now.
Yeah. So Salesforce basically started off offering as a software as a service platform.
Right.
Corely servicing the sales area. So, and part of the sales cycle and goes into the service cycle. So that's where they started off it. And the good thing is, like, they automated the process. So as they started growing, they adapted the best practices into these market, and they acquired a lot of competing companies.
And Salesforce do that.
Right.
I think a lot of these companies do a lot of acquisitions and mergers to gain technology footprint. But just the fact that, how do you look at Salesforce as a tool right now?
So as in terms of the growth itself, Salesforce is totally operating on cloud compared to the previous ones. There is the substantial freedom that you gain, rather than you don't have to invest a lot of money before you venture out getting into tool set. In a cloud platform, it's easy, and it's a subscription model.
One of the first to go cloud in a big way. Whenever I used to drive in the Bay, I used to see their office and a lot of cloud. Even their logo had a cloud thing for a long time. Right? It still has a cloud on it. Wow, yeah. So I think SaaS, cloud-based, and as a product also, it started acquiring more customers now.
Right. It totally grew into this SaaS area. It kind of, it started as into sales, service, marketing, and what goes on top of it, analytics. That was the part it initially ventured into, as it's not only a rock solid platform, but it lets you a way for you to customize it.
Yeah.
So if you have a different need, so it gives you a platform to code and customize the application. So thereafter, as people started more adapting it, they opened it a bit more wide, and they made it the product available now as a platform as a service.
Platform as a service. So you can build your own platform or a workflow.
Yeah.
You can take a template and customize it, like marketing. I can take, suppose. So it's going vast, more like is it becoming like an ERP? But I don't think it's going to manufacturing.
Yeah, it's having a lot of more core modules. Core modules of Salesforce still are CRM based, sales, service, and marketing. So in those cases, it kind of brought out the niche products acquired all of them. So, I mean, right now they're like the best products and they're still into the cloud. So that's attracting a lot of customers and a lot of clients, due to the flexibility and the way it saves money in terms of infrastructure, a lot of people are still adapting it. And when I say about platform as a service, so platform is opening up, you can build anything now. Traditionally, if you want to start up a company, you want to do your own website, you need to buy some database license, someone hire for, to maintain your database, to application server, you need to buy again licenses. So Salesforce combining everything and giving it to you. It has its own proprietary language. The platform is ready. You build anything, you deploy it, it's go. It's a
proprietary programming language.
Right. It's called Apex.
Apex.
Yeah, okay. Apex it offers, and now it's totally a web-based application you can build on top of Salesforce. So you don't necessarily need to use their services. But you can still buy a Salesforce license and put your own application, be it anything, be a shopping cart or your own educational package or anything you can build on top of it. And you're paying it only. You don't need a huge amount to start up your business now. You don't need
I can take out of the box Salesforce also and start implementing.
Right. Yeah.
So what do Salesforce experts bring to the table?
So
implementation, customization.
So you name it. Coming into Salesforce space, I mean,
now you're working with Universal as a client. You did Disney, ABC earlier.
So I mean, when I was at least working at Disney, so they had their own applications. So they didn't have a goal that necessarily we have to build it in Salesforce. So as I was actually working to Billasoft, it's from the Billasoft. We proposed that use Salesforce as a platform as a service now. So you don't need to use its core features. Being the time of the license you purchase, you get the core features. And you don't need to build everything from scratch. It offers a lot of declarative approach, point and click based. Some applications can be simple point and click, you're done.
Have you seen a trend in Salesforce requirements or jobs or career aspirations? I see the product it's doing very well. That should be associated with a lot of jobs related in Salesforce.
Yeah, it's directly translating into jobs too. Because
you have someone who's a regular user to an admin, someone who's customizing. So multiple roles again, right?
So I mean, as in you acquire Salesforce, common scenarios of jobs you see is like someone who has to set up for the office. So admin comes into the picture. So once you get Salesforce, hey, it's good, but a few days later you have some new requirements. It's not meeting the product. It's not doing. So you bring in a developer to put in your functional. So you need developers there. And in terms of if you need Salesforce is not really a platform, but it can integrate with less authentications, ERPs, you name it. It's pretty competent. It's out in the space. So the architects come into place, the integration experts, and hooking up with the middleware people. So there is a lot of vacuum in Salesforce. As clients are going, a lot of training too. So being Salesforce is kind of new and the clients are growing massive. So there is a lot of emptiness there. So they need, the clients of purchasing needs someone to train them to use the product, and someone to help them set up the product and want to customize it. So there is definitely a lot of skill vacuum. Comparatively, software companies in India, they don't have a lot of people available to.
We hear a lot like SAP, Oracle, PeopleSoft, and Salesforce doesn't have such a vast kind of recognition. Does it have marketing in India as a client?
I've seen it. I think they're pretty strong in the US now. I think they're getting the market across the globe too. So as I started off in the recent years, I haven't seen job opportunities coming from other parts of the world globe. But recently, I've been at least people been connecting from different parts, Europe and Australia. Different people asking, hey, we have some needs. If there's someone or some company can help us out. So not only the international markets in India, I've seen several of the companies starting to adapt Salesforce. So they've been aggressive pushing in terms of marketing, and they usually have a yearly conference called Dreamforce, which is
yes, I know. Even I think they're having these conferences across the globe, doing this slope. I think Salesforce is a great Bay Area story, Silicon Valley thing. And you've been associated with Salesforce for a long time.
It's been about 8 years I've been working.
Wow.
The way it translated is totally different. It's, as I said, it started as a SaaS, now it's SaaS, and it's growing, and they have like some of the best people in the driver's seat, like Mark Vignapi landed off from Oracle, so he was quick enough to capture the cloud market. And still, the companies like Microsoft or Oracle competing to get into the cloud space, but they're really behind them, as we speak, because of the name and popularity.
Surprises, even any company, be it small or large company. For example, we started developing at Workasa applications in Node.js, which is something Node.js, Angular 5, MongoDB, new stack, mean stack development. Just this number of technologies that keep coming up. But I see Salesforce as a great a great career opportunity, because I've been hearing it a lot more the last 2 years.
Yeah.
In fact, Andy, can we have you unmuted, maybe, Andy? Okay, I'll get you unmuted. How are you doing, Andy?
Hey, good, Ben. What's going on?
Okay. So let me introduce Andy. The reason I picked up is because Andy and I, in fact, we were both working with NBC Universal. HCL Technologies was our employer, and we were both area sales directors taking care of a large SAP account. That's when we met. And Andy comes from a very large, he comes from a technology background, and then a lot of time is spent in IT sales and account management till about maybe 3 years back, since he moved out totally into entrepreneurship. Andy, thank you so much. Why don't you help us a little bit more with the introduction?
So, I was listening to Nagi as well as with Vignesh. While I'm a little out of touch with technology itself and the so-called, let's say, assuming things like connected with data server, BI, and all that. I'm a little out of touch with that. I will admit this to you. I'm more of a sales guy. I talk technology, but before I talk technology, I first understand what it is all about. Takes me something like 2.5 hours, maybe sometimes like 2.5 days, whatever it is. Understand that, and then I present our credentials of a company to the client. Now, typically in the United States, clients, when guys like us make the presentation, they expect us to know that, especially the sales guy, to know a little bit about technology. And that's my objective, just to know enough to talk about it. And when there's a problem, to figure out a way of how to resolve or find a solution to the problem. So that's my take in the whole thing, Karthik.
No, absolutely. I think that's a great point, Andy. Even from a sales perspective, both technology and or domain, kind of play a key role. I think it's more from a conversation perspective, what we do. And Andy, you and I, we've seen, how the struggle to establish an on-site team, offshore team, multi-country teams for various of the clients that we've kind of managed in a career. Do you see, and now as an entrepreneur, you're using a lot of technology yourself, but may not be that advanced, could be more for a startup-based technology. With kind of technologies that you're hearing right now, data sciences, blockchain, DevOps, and so on, what do you think more of your customer base, I'm not talking the smaller restaurants, but chain of restaurants or the government organizations and other things that you're going after, what is the technology there that they may be having exposed to in your hospitality industry?
Typically, most of my customers, let's say from a restaurant industry perspective, now let me put this way. Restaurants, there are 5 chain restaurants and sometimes 100 location restaurants actually.
Mm-hmm.
If I pick up, let's say a 5 location restaurant, they barely have any infrastructure excepting things connected with point of sale.
Yes, more point of sale, reservations. Yeah,
that's right. but they have not learned and will never learn something called data science. They will not be interested in pushing what do you call data science, in terms of, okay, I have a special promotion going on in the next 2 weeks. They are barely in a position to capture their audience's
Yeah.
particulars, for example, email or cell phone or something like that.
Yeah. You're right. I think they cannot adapt, but maybe what happens is if they get a better perspective of the customer trends and so on, maybe they improve their operations. Look at applications like OpenTable. Now, I don't think OpenTable by itself is a technology or anything. It's just a product, and there's nothing that one would build a career on. But when it comes to building applications like that, both at a web and mobile front, I'm sure for next round we will have some more participants from there. There's a lot of scope in that I see with small, medium-sized businesses, right, Andy? Web and mobile app development works.
Right. You see, OpenTable is a very good product. But again, it is good for, from a reservation perspective and all that. I just finished 2 days ago, not 2 days, sorry, 3 days ago, talking to the CEO of Dine Equity. Dine Equity is a combination of two large chain restaurants like IHOP and Applebee's.
Oh, okay.
So they are the owner of IHOP and Applebee's. And I was speaking to the director of IT actually. I happened to know him, just spoke to him, and he was talking to me about things like technology and all that. But he says one thing he says very clearly is the hospitality industry is not geared. I mean, they would love to, but because of the cost of doing operations very high, they're not geared towards too much of technology. They just want enough.
Yeah.
Available. That's about it. Things like, for example, let's say Nagi talks about, I mean, I'm not blaming Nagi, but we talk about data science.
Sure.
Or let's say business intelligence, or even business processing systems, BPS, if you would, or including something like high-end aspects of data work, data migration, if you would. The hospitality industry is very, very ill-equipped. Despite the fact that they are so heavily data centered, they're very, very ill-equipped to handle that kind of work because they don't have the money to spend.
The businesses themselves, I understand. See, a lot of these businesses, technology is not a core. It's just a support function at the back end.
Right.
That's it. And even when we worked with a lot of these customer ends, technology always looked like an admin team. We never considered the core of business. We're always a support team, unless you're an IT product development company. So, Andy, I think what will happen is more and more growth will come to some kind of a marketing based technology more for these restaurants and agencies. But that's a great thing to see how, IT, it's just not that everyone is just taking IT. It's limited. I see a lot of people, even we buy so much technology, we don't use it all. We just have limited usages. Hey, thank you, Andy. Manoj, how are you doing? And we have Kumar as well. Didn't get a chance to speak to you both, and not too much time left as well. Manoj, thank you, Andy.
Hi, Karthik.
Hey, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Karthik. Thank you.
Excellent. Manoj, please do a quick introduction for all of us. Thank you.
So I have more than 10 years of experience in software testing. And I started my career as a manual tester, and I worked there for 3 years. And then I started learning automation tools. So I started with QTP, and then I enjoyed a lot it because it's kind of more challenging, more interesting than manual testing, what people feel. So if you ask any manual tester, so they just say it's boring, man, it's nothing. So yeah, I also realized that thing, and then I started learning, And so I worked on QTP, UFT, and then currently working with Selenium with C Sharp. Earlier also worked with Selenium with Java. Uh, so that's my a quick brief introduction of professional experience. Uh, I would like to say something about the software testing. Means how was the perspective in the industry, and how develop development models like Agile change the whole perspective for the testing. So earlier it was like in traditional models like waterfall model or V model. There are a lot of other models as well. So testing was a part of, like, everything is developed and then comes testing. So there everything is bounded, like you have to do this thing in this time period and all. So people mindset was like, I have to perform my job. I have to write these test cases. I have to execute. That's it. My job is done. I'm not worried about it will go in production at some. It will throw something. So, but what happened when we talk about software testing and in automation particularly? So people nowadays are looking for SDET. They are not looking for a just a tester or manual tester or tester. So we have to think, means manual testers who haven't worked in any automation project or anything, they have to think uh, like a developer, not like a tester. Like tester just not doing executing test cases and reporting defects and all. So they have to think like developers. So when they will start thinking like a developers, then their perspective will change and they will learn new technologies. Because I see people are very comfortable in their zone. They don't want to come and learn new technologies in software testing. So I see most of the people are lack here. I have talked to most of the people. So we see this
That is,
problem.
they're not updating or upgrading their skill sets, and that is becoming a challenge, correct?
Right, Karthik, correctly said. So
And now in just it's not just SDET, with shift left going and DevOps coming into picture, a lot of tools that we use even today in the software testing world, be it like Jenkins, GitHub, Maven, AWS, a lot of this comes under the DevOps operation. Do you see a lot of DevOps being spoken, Manoj?
definitely, Karthik, Agile has changed many things. So when we talk about Agile, so it means we are planning to launch our product or project as soon as to market.
Correct.
So we plan releases in 1 month or 2 months. So we have to work in sprints. In Agile, we call sprints for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then after 3 weeks, you have to release. So it won't work in traditional model where you have a build engineers, you have integration engineers, you have blah blah different designations and roles are there. But in Agile model, it won't fit. So you need DevOps, you need more automation in all
You
these
need to
things.
wear multiple hats, correct? In a more agile, you're all playing a lot more role, and you have to be more involved into it. So
Right, Karthik, right. So in Agile, we have to do more automation, starting from your code integrations, your build deployment, your releases. Everything should be uh,
yeah,
planned.
yeah.
So in this time frame, very small, 2 weeks or three weeks time frame, we have to do a lot of things in testing. So you have to be involved from the beginning of the development when it starts.
Mm,
So
mm.
that's why I was saying you have to think like a developer.
And for the role that you are in right now, Manoj, is there a lot of automation being used?
Definitely, Karthik. Yes.
Yeah.
So currently, I'm using Selenium with Visual Studio and C Sharp.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
and I use Git so to source code integration, and then we use Azure as a cloud.
Yeah.
So we can automatically deploy builds, we can release, we can perform integration testing, we can perform a sanity testing after deployment in the environment. So all these are automated. So I see a lot of DevOps things here, and we have a lot of automation testing involved. So it is not possible uh, for like how we were doing 4 or 5 years back in software testing.
And like, I remember, Manoj, when you and early stages of your career, where you went to, I believe, in Delhi or wherever you worked implementing QTP, it was a
Yes,
related technology, and we got those chances to keep implementing. Today, I'm assuming with the new role which you joined last year, is you had a lot of learning to do, correct, to fit into what technologies they were using.
definitely, Karthik.
I'm
I was
sorry.
not. I was not uh, uh, got this chance to look earlier, means before joining these organizations, uh, how DevOps works. Okay, I
Yeah.
have a very minimum knowledge of how DevOps works, what things are there, what tools we use. But this role was very challenging, and I have to learn various things like how DevOps works. I need
Yeah.
to I integrate my automation test as well, and those things I need to learn. And then I have to learn C# programming. That was a new for me as well. Then Sindhura was talking about spec flow, so we are also uh, going into the BDD directions. So a lot of tools involved, and many things we have to learn. So what I suggest for manual testers, they should uh, focus on learning new things.
Sure.
People say, oh man, I have more than 10 years of experience. Now I want to move in management. So this is I would say a dangerous line when you think about to change your career in management. Because in Agile, people don't think you will be a manager. They think you will be individual contributor. You have to contribute. And nowadays, everywhere is cost cutting. So they don't want a big team testing team for 10 people in 5 6 people who are doing manual testing, 4 people are doing automation testing. So it's a huge cost for them. So they don't want to do this. They have small teams like Agile, 4 or 5 developers, maximum 2 automation engineers. One will you have to perform everything: manual testing, automation testing, web services testing. A lot of things you have to do. So if you are not open to learn new technologies, then you will be very behind from the crowd. And then I think Nagi and I think Vignesh was talking about artificial intelligence and very new technology that's coming in. So what will happen? Particularly this AI thing will disrupt the software testing more beyond our expectations. I would think like it will means that manual testing will totally will go. I think because tools from AI are coming, they can perform most of the things what a manual tester does. So if we are not open to learn new technologies, that will be a very I would say uh, dangerous thing for any software tester or a manual tester for their career. I cannot hear you, Karthik.
I think there was an echo, so I muted myself. No, thank you, Manoj. Thank you so much. I hear that, and even at iTeLearn, what we're having to do is keep introducing so many new tools every time. And what we realized is it is not no longer that I teach just one technology. People want to learn multiple. They want to specialize in one, but have a decent idea on. Look at the number of technologies that we already spoke in this session. It's immense. And how we go about giving that imparted to students becomes very important, especially making complex things easy to learn. I know we're running against time right now, but Kumar, I would love to hear from you as well. You are someone who's been in training for a long time, expert in performance testing. How are you doing, Kumar? Can you hear us? Let me see. Okay, there you are. I have you unmuted.
Karthik, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Well, Karthik, thank you so much for having me here on this technical panel discussion. I feel I'm honored. I hope you're able to see me. I don't know, like, I started sharing my screen, my webcam.
Your webcam, not yet. Yes, now we can.
Okay. Thank you. I'm honored, and thank you so much for having me here. And I'm glad I'm soon becoming a part of iTeLearn. Uh, well, coming to the point, yes, I have 13 to 14 years of overall IT experience, and just like most of the people, I've started my career in manual testing. And then I wanted to differentiate myself with the others, as a manual testers, because you get a little bored very quickly when it comes to manual testing, as one of our fellow panelists, has mentioned. So I was exploring a little bit, played around with different things. I did a little bit of data, backend testing or database testing is what they call, and then played around with RFT and then
Yeah.
QTP, and
Yeah.
then latched on to the performance testing. Somehow, it kind of
Mhm.
excited me, and then I felt good when I'm doing this. Then I felt that, I feel a little good about myself. And then I've been doing performance testing for quite some time. And training is something which interests me for quite some time. People whoever are in touch with me, and when I explain some concepts, they felt that, I'm good with that and kind of encouraged me. And then I took this as a full time from the last 2 to 3 years. Back then, I was doing it as a part time. That's about myself, Karthik. Uh, when it comes to performance testing, what's going on these days? Whoever wants to make a career out of performance testing, and it's still a niche area, it's been a niche area. I mean, they wanted to be in the testing, and then they want to differentiate themselves, want to find something which is niche. I still believe that performance testing or security testing is the areas that they need to explore. And what I have seen from my experience is the people who start with performance testing, at the starting of the career are little less. The people who work as manual testers or backend, database testers or automation, then they slowly move into performance testing. I find these groups a lot. That's how it has been. With my experience, rather than saying that, oh, I'm 1 year experience and all it's been in performance testing. We don't see, that much in the market. So people who has some manual testing 4 or 5 years, and then want to make a move, make a career for themselves, not in manual testing or something else, then I think they can explore the performance testing area. And
Sure.
sure, yeah.
Performance testing, from my point of view, is also a little science. It is, and with the amount of data, usage that's coming across, and the kind of variety of devices that people are also using for applications. And when we say performance testing, we talk about load, stress, user, server. I don't know. So many factors into it, right?
Right.
I have
Network.
not really seen too much in terms of new tools or technologies in performance testing, other than, of course, load runner, then JMeter, and so on. But have you seen any development in that, Kumar?
When it comes to new tools, as you said, it's not much. It's still the same load runner and JMeter. JMeter has been there for a while, but from the last 2 to 3 years, it's been picking up big time. Just like what Selenium did with automation, JMeter is doing the same thing with performance testing right now. So we are not there yet, but JMeter is picking up really big time. So I can give you a lot of instances. Recently, I went to bid for a project, and what they wanted to do is they don't want to spend too much money on the tool. You see, load runner is very expensive. Okay, more number of users, the more cost it's involved. So I was talking to this guy who is the head of testing, and he said, why would I spend so much money on the tool and the users when I know that I can get it for free? So I totally agree with him. JMeter is evolving. Now you can do a full-scale project with the JMeter. I mean, it evolved to such an extent, and all mid-scale, small-scale companies who wants to explore performance testing now, without spending too much time, without spending too much money, they can get their applications performance tested, and that opened a lot of doors for the entrepreneurs, who wants to get some projects, bid for some projects. Yes.
Sure. And I think it is always going to be challenging in terms of, how we get good people in this technology. Because I see a lot of people from a tools perspective, not really strong on JMeter or Load Runner. It looks very superficial. Of course, I am not a master at, I mean, I have no knowledge on it at all at my end. I've never got a chance to explore on it. But if someone needs to do, let's say they're already in manual testing, a focused 1 month, 2 months should be sufficient to learn these tools, right? But there'll be a lot in terms of practical scenarios and methodologies that they need to build a skill.
You got a very good point, Karthik. I mean, I know you'd have done some research on that. Learning front, probably you can do it in 1 or 2 months, but industry, it's not that easy. It comes with a lot of experience, because what client wants is performance engineering. Okay, when they hire a performance tester, what he assumes that he has hired a performance engineer as well, and that's what actually he needs. So if you wanted to learn performance testing, probably 1 to 2 months is good, but performance engineering, it comes with a lot of experience and knowledge. And rightly these days, all the companies, even when they're doing the interviews, they are concentrating on the performance engineering side a lot more than the performance testing side, right? So yeah, the people who wants to make a career, there's nothing to panic about. They can learn in 1 to 2 years, but you wanted to master it, it takes a while. Yes.
That's correct. And see, again, one of the biggest challenges that I see for people who are making an entry into IT or switching a field in IT is not just learning, but also acceptance from the project or the client that it is okay, because you just learned something, you've done a practice project maybe. That becomes critical. This is awesome. So I think I've almost covered all of you, but I would love to see if audience has any questions, anyone that we would want to address, the panel team. Anyone has questions?
Karthik, there is Jyotsna from the team who has a question for Manoj. So if you could just check the chat.
I'm sorry. Hi. Okay, Jyotsna. Is that a question on chat that we have, Ashna? I see that. Yeah.
Yes, Karthik, on GoToWebinar chat. Yes.
Sure. So I'll read out the question and maybe Manoj. How is Manoj doing DevOps, as he's telling that he's using Selenium? Where does DevOps come into picture? I do remember Manoj did answer, but Manoj, do you want to address it once again?
Definitely, Karthik. So what happens when we use Selenium? So we also write code. We design framework, we develop our framework, and we write scripts. So to get the most of it, your testing, you cannot just write your scripts and running locally. That is not the best solution if you are working in Agile and DevOps model. So what you need to have, you need to use some source code integration tool like Git. We have SVN, we have GitLab, many tools are there. So when you integrate this, you can check in your code to a repository, like a Git repository, what your team has created, and you can create. There will be branches like dev, so it will be for development environment. Then there is a UAT, then there's a master, means for production releases. So you need to check your whatever you do, check in your code to your source code repository. Once it is done, it will you have to build. Okay, build those whatever the job name you given. Once it is built, then you have to to take the most of the benefit is after deployment, means after the uh, application deployment in environment, you need to uh, run the sanity test or regression test. So what happened, you need to create another job. Okay, so what will it will do, it will pick the code from the uh, source code repository, then it will start the execution. So you have to provide jobs and commands and all there in VSTS or TFS, whatever you say. Then it will execute all those tests. Okay, so that's how currently I'm using it.
Sure, and I'm sure there's a lot of DevOps that is required for us to learn. Even at any development, when we used to use a lot of GitHub and Jenkins. We still do it with any Peach, and there's so much that we need to really plug it in. So it's tough to say that, hey, why are we doing a BA role? Why are we doing a DevOps role or a BI role? We spread, especially in software testing, we get a lot of spread team.
Karthik, I would like to say we need to understand the DevOps. So DevOps is not just a tool or something. It's a combination of
Manoj, we lost you there. You were saying combination of anything you made mute.
Yes, Karthik, there was some background noise, so that's why I thought.
No problem. Sure, I think yes, it's a combination of a lot of tools and methodologies that you have to put together and see what is the best. Because we're using like 30-40% of what DevOps can offer. In fact, we will be talking a lot of these technologies and trainings that we're launching. I don't believe there are further questions. This is more like an introduction to more of the technical panelists. And we would love to keep this channel open through which our iTeLearn community and members could interact directly with you through our forum and be able to talk about any of these areas. Any specific final words from anyone for today's session?
I would say keep learning for the software testing people, and always look for the learning new technology and skills.
Yeah, learning is key, and I think I enjoyed learning. If I had time, it is great. All I want to do is sit down, learn a new technology, and go deep into it. It's pretty interesting once you go in deep into any field in IT. Thank you, everyone. I personally thank Andy, Nagi, Manoj, Vicky, Kumar, Sindhura. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Ashna, for coordinating. Audience, thank you so much for joining in live. I know it's a weekend, so we didn't expect too many live participants to come, but this is the time we could get most of the panelists to be available. We will have this video up on our website very soon. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, Karthik.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Karthik.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye now.